हेलो एवरीवन। आज हम इस वीडियो में आपको दिखाएंगे या हम लोग सीखेंगे इलेक्ट्रोलाइटिक कंडक्शन इन सॉल्यूशन। नाउ हाउ सॉल्यूशन कंडक्ट्स करंट। तो सॉल्यूशन में करंट कैसे कंडक्ट करते हैं तो उसके बारे में आज हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे। सो हेड नेम ऑफ द टॉपिक विल बी कंडक्शन इन सॉल्यूशन। Now, before starting with this conduction of electrolytic solution, let me just discuss there are two major types of conduction that we often observe in our life. So, conduction is of two types: metallic conduction or metallic conductor and electrolytic. Electrolytic conductor. So we have two types of conductor: metallic conductor and electrolytic conductor. Now before starting with this electrolytic, because since we are dealing with electrolytes in solution, so we are going to just focus on electrolytic conduction. But before this, let me just give you a brief idea about this electrolytic conductor and metallic conductor, similarities and difference, and what are the factors on which this conduction depends. So first, coming to metallic conductor. So this metallic conductor is also known as electronic conductor, because the conduction in case of metal is because of mobile electrons or valence electron. Conduction is due to mobile electrons of the valency cell present in the metal. Whereas in case of electrolytic conductor, the conduction is due to free cations and ions. And these free ions are nothing but cations and anions. So these ions will carry current in case of electrolytic conductor, whereas in case of metallic conductor, current is being carried by mobile electrons. Now let's see some factors on which this metallic conductor and electrolytic conductor depends. The factors are: metallic conductor depends on nature and the structure of the metal. Nature and structure of metal. That means metals, if suppose metal the ionization energy of metal is less, so electron can be easily loosed, then conduction will be more. If the ionization energy of the metal is more, then tendency for these electrons to remove will be less, so less electrons are available for current carrying, so conduction will be less. So this is nature, structure and the electronic configuration of the metal. This metallic conduction or metallic conductor also depends on temperature, now metallic conduction decreases as the temperature is increase, or metallic conduction increases as the temperature is decreased. So this metallic conduction is inversely related to temperature. Now let's see why this metallic conduction is inversely related to temperature. Now if we increase the temperature, the electrons will gain kinetic energy. If the electrons gain kinetic energy, they will move faster motion they will have higher velocity. If the electrons are moving with higher velocity, then the chances for this electronic collision will increases. As a result, the conduction will decrease. This metallic conduction also depends on the number of electrons in the valency shell. Number of electrons present in the valency shell. So if the number of electrons present in the valency shell is more, so more electrons can be involved in this conduction, so conductivity will be more. If the number of electrons present in the valency shell is less, so less number of electrons are available for conduction, so conductivity will be less. So these are the three major factors on which metallic conduction depends. One is now coming to electrolytic conduction. The conduction is because of the free ions, that is cations or anions. So these electrolytic conduction force depends on nature of solute, nature of electrolyte. Now in the beginning of this electrochemistry, we have discussed there are two types of electrolyte: strong electrolytes and weak electrolytes. So strong electrolytes are those electrolytes which is almost 100% dissociated or ionized. Since the substance is almost 100% dissociated or ionized, the number of ions present in the solution will be more, so the conduction will be large. Whereas if we have weak electrolyte, these weak electrolytes, the percentage dissociation or the degree of dissociation will be less. As a result, less ions will be present in the solution, hence the conduction will be less. So that means strong electrolytes, the conductivity of strong electrolyte is greater than weak electrolytes. Why? The reason is strong electrolytes are 100% ionized, whereas these are less than 100% ionized. So more number of ions is present in case of strong electrolytes than weak electrolytes. This electrolytic conduction also depends on temperature. Now let's see how this electrolytic conduction depends on temperature. Now if we increase the temperature, then the viscosity of the solvent will be decreased, and these ions will also move with faster speed. As the ions moves with faster speed due to decrease in the viscosity of solvent, the conduction capacity of the solid ions will be increased. So in case of this electrolytic conduction, this conduction is directly proportional to temperature. So as the temperature increases, electrolytic conductor increases. The reason being, due to decrease in viscosity of the solvent, ions will move faster, hence current carrying capacity will be more. This electrolytic conduction also depends on the viscosity of solvent. Now look at this. If the solvent is having higher viscosity, the resistive force will be more, resistance to flow of liquid will be more. As the viscosity is more, tendency for these ions to move through the medium will be less. As the mobility of ions in the more viscous solvent is less, conduction will be less. If the viscosity of the solvent is less, means the resistance to flow of liquids will be less. So if the viscosity of the solvent is less, then the tendency for these ions to move will be increased. As the mobility of ions increases, the electrolytic conduction will increase. So this electrolytic conduction again inversely related to the viscosity. This electrolytic conduction also depends on the size of ions and the size of solvated ions. size of solvated ions. That means when a particular ion is dissolved in solvent, this ion is surrounded by a layer of solvent. As a result, the size of solvated ion is much greater than the size of free ions in the gaseous state. Now, as the size of ions increases, the tendency for these ions to move through this medium or solvent will decrease. So, as the size increases, mobility of ions decreases, so the electrolytic conduction will decrease. So, this electrolytic conduction is inversely related to size of solvated ion. Size more, conduction less, small size, more conduction. So, now look at this. Let me give you this example. We have these ions, let's take these ions. We have lithium ion, gaseous state. The size of lithium ion is less than size of sodium ion in gaseous state. Then we have potassium. Then we have rubidium. Then we have cesium. So this is the size of ions in gaseous state. But now when these ions are dissolved in water, means these ions will be surrounded by a layer of solvent molecules. Now the size of lithium being the smallest, charge density will be the more, so these lithium ions are extensively hydrated. So because of this being extensive hydration, means as the size of ions in gaseous state increases, tendency for solvation increases. So when this is dissolved in water, the size becomes reverse. So equated lithium ion, the size of equated lithium ion is the greater than equated sodium ion, that is solvated ion, whose size is greater than equated potassium ion, which is greater than equated rubidium, which is greater than equated cesium. Now this is size of ions in solution. As the size decreases, conductivity of ions will decrease. So this is size of solvated ion. This is conduction. So now look at this. As the size decreases, then mobility of ions will increase, so the conduction will increase. So in aqueous solution, the conduction of cesium ion will be the more than rubidium, which is more than potassium, which is more than sodium, and so liquid lithium will be having the least conduction capacity. So this is how these ions size changes when these ions are dissolved in water or any particular solvent. So due to this solvation, the size increases. As the size increases, the tendency or the mobility of ions decreases, so current carrying capacity will be decreased. So these are the factors on which electrolytic conduction depends. So these are two basics that we are going to use here. So we are going to focus on this electrolytic conduction. Now coming to this electrolytic conduction, now for this conduction of solution, conduction in electrolytic solution, still the Ohm's law that we have used in physics is still applicable for conduction in solution. So for this, Ohm's law is still applicable in solution. So according to this Ohm's law, the resistance offered by the solution, this resistance is directly proportional to the length of conductor through which the current is being flowing and inversely related to the area of cross section. What is L is the length of Conductor is the area of cross section. So that means if we increase the area of cross section, the resistance will decrease. If area of cross section is decreased, resistance will increase. If length of conductor is increased, resistance will increase, and vice versa. So therefore, look at this. So remove this proportionality. We have, look at this, R is equals to some constant rho L by A, and this rho is defined as resistivity or specific resistance. Resistivity or specific resistance. Now look at this. Let's define what is this rho. Now this resistivity is equals to resistance when length of conductor is 1 unit and area of cross section is 1 unit. So therefore, this resistivity or the specific resistance is the resistance offered by the solution when L is equals to 1 unit and area of cross section is also 1 unit. So when the length of conductor and the area of cross section of the conductor is unit, at that condition, what is the resistance offered? That resistance offered by the solution is known as specific resistance. So now look at this length of conductor. Length is measured in terms of meter, area is measured in terms of meter square. So if this is the case, then the unit of resistance. So this is, let's suppose this is equation A, to R unit of R, that is ohm. This is the unit of resistance. So if this is the unit of resistance, then unit of specific resistance. So this is equals to R into A by L. So R is ohm, A is meter square divided by meter. So this is ohm meter under standard condition. So now look at this. So now we are defining resistance, but so condition is we have to define, measure the conductance of the solution. So in solution, this L by A, for electrolytic conduction, this L by A, this is known as cell constant. Sometimes in some of the book this is given by G star. L by A, cell constant is denoted by G star, or simply you can say this is cell constant. So simply look at this. If the cell constant is more, resistance will be more. If the cell constant is less, resistance will be less. This cell constant has a unit of meter inverse, because we have this L by A. L is measured in terms of meter, A is measured in terms of meter square. So this is meter square under standard condition. Now this is resistance. Now we have to define the conductance. So now conductance of the solution. Now we have to measure the conductance. So conductance is denoted by G. So this conductance G is nothing but the inverse of resistance. So conductance G is equals to 1 by R. So therefore from equation A, this will be equals to 1 by rho into A by L, because 1 by L by A is A by L. So therefore look at this. If you look at this, so G conductance, which is equals to 1 by R, is equals to 1 by rho, is defined by another term which is known as kappa into A by L. So again we are having one more term here. So kappa, pronounced as kappa. So this is nothing but specific conductance or conductivity or specific conductance. So again, look at this. This specific conductance is the conductance offered by the solution when area of cross section is 1 and the length of conductor is also 1. So the conductance produced by the solution when A and Al are both 1 unit is known as specific conductance. So now look at this. This G conductance is equal to specific conductance A by L. So looking at this, conductance is 1 by R. So R is measured in terms of unit of R is ohm. Resistance is measured in terms of ohm. So 1 by R, that is known as ohm inverse, which is also known as mho, or stator, this is known as Siemens. So 1 by R. So conductance G is measured in terms of unit, standard is Siemens. Simple thing is S. So if you look at this, G is 1 by R, so is equals to ohm inverse. This is also written as mho. So if this is the resistance, then the unit of kappa, which is equals to, now look at this, kappa is G into L by A. So G is Siemens, L by A is meter inverse. So this is the unit of conductance, unit of kappa, specific conductance. So now coming to this conductance. Now we can measure area of cross section, we can measure length of conductor, we can measure conductance. So once we have this, we can have this specific conductance, or if specific conductance L by A is given, then we can measure this G, that is the conductance of solution. Now in conduction, now look at this. In conduction, we are having electrolytes. So these electrolytes are having some concentrations. So based on this is this is a general definition of conductance. But since solution is having some concentration, so it's better to define this conductance in this way: molar conductance. Molar conductance, lambda m. Now let me define what is molar conductance. Now molar conductance is defined as the conductance offered by a solution whose volume is some VmL, in which 1 mole electrolyte, so the total quantity of electrolyte is dissolved is 1 mole. So 1 mole of electrolyte is dissolved in VmL of a solution. So when this 1 mole of electrolyte is dissolved in volume or VmL of solution, some ions should be formed. The total conducting power of solution in which 1 mole of electrolyte is dissolved in V volumes of the solvent is known as the molar conductance. So now here conductance is measured in terms of the concentration, measured in terms of molarity. So this is total conductance of a solution of VmL containing 1 mole electrolyte. So total quantity of electrolyte dissolved is 1 mole. So this 1 mole electrolyte, which is dissolved in VmL of the solution. So total conducting power of this solution is known as molar conductance, which is defined as lambda m. Lambda for conductance or molar conductance and m for molarity. So this molar conductance, by definition, this molar conductance is defined as kappa by concentration in terms of molarity. So this is molar concentration. Now this kappa, we have this unit of kappa, Simon meter inverse concentration. In standard unit, this must be mole per meter cube. Mole per meter cube. This is Simon meter inverse. So therefore, standard unit of this name. Standard unit of this lambda m will be equals to Simon meter square per mole. This is the standard unit of molar conductance. But now look at this. Kappa, in most of the case, this is measured in terms of Simon centimeter inverse, and this concentration, molar concentration, this is defined in terms of number of moles dissolved per liter of solution. So instead of this meter cube, we use this liter. So if liter is used, then under those conditions, this lambda m is modified as kappa into 1000 divided by concentration. So here the unit is Simon centimeter square per mole. So if kappa is Simon centimeter inverse and concentration mole per liter, then this lambda should be multiplied by 1000. If this is under standard conditions, then no need for this multiplication. Now if you look at this concentration, suppose we are having 1 molar concentration, so concentration is number of moles per liter, so this is 1 by volume. So 1 mole electrolyte is present in V liter of solution. So concentration is inversely related to volume. So now look at this. If concentration is increased, molar conductance decreases. If concentration is decreased, molar conductance will increase. Whereas this kappa is directly proportional to the concentration. So now look at this. So we have this molar conductance. Similarly, in some of the case, instead of this molar conductance, we also use equivalent conductance. So let's also define this equivalent conductance. So another conductance, this is equivalent conductance, lambda eq. Now equivalent conductance. Now equivalent is another method for measuring amount of substance. So in this case, now in molar case, we are dissolving 1 mole of electrolyte in V ml of solution. Whereas in case of equivalent conductance, we are using 1 gram equivalent of solute or the electrolyte. So 1 gram equivalent of electrolyte is dissolved in V volume of solution. So the total conducting power of the solution containing 1 gram equivalent electrolyte, total conductance of a solution containing 1 gram equivalent electrolyte dissolved in V volume of solution. So the total conducting power of 1 gram equivalent present in V volume of solution is known as equivalent conductance. So here equivalent conductance is defined as kappa divided by concentration measured in terms of normality. normality. Here concentration was in terms of molar concentration and this is normality. So under standard condition, this kappa is Simon meter inverse, this is mole, gram equivalent per mole. So, unit will be Simon meter square per equivalent, or this is written as kappa into 1000 divided by n. Unit will be Simon centimeter square per equivalent. So more often rather than normality we use this molar concentration. So we have this molar concentration. Now let's define this equivalent conductance and molar conductance, relation between these two. After that we will go to the variation of this conductance with concentration. Relation between lambda m and lambda eq. Now we have look at this lambda m k by c, lambda equivalent k by n. So now taking this ratio, lambda m by lambda eq is equals to, that is k by c, this is k by n. So this is normality divided by molarity, because k will cancel out. So we have this normality. So therefore look at this, normality is equals to n factor into molarity divided by molarity. This is the relation. Normality of a solution is equals to valency factor into molarity. So this will cancel out. So therefore lambda m is equals to n factor times equivalent conductance. So this is a general equation. So in solution, now look at this, we have a cation and anion. So we have a charge on cation and anion. So instead of this we can write out this equation as molar conductance is equals to some factor V plus minus into equivalent conductance. So this V plus minus, this is total charge on cation or anion. So this is the relation between molar conductance and equivalent conductance. So in most of the case now, instead of this we are using this molar conductance, because it's appropriate to define this conduction in terms of molar conductance, because we are having sometimes concentration of electrolyte which is measured in terms of molarity, that is 1 mole of the substance is dissolved in some volume of the solvent. So this is molar conductance and this is equivalent conductance, and this is the relation between these two. So now look at this, take this example. We have this NaCl. So when this NaCl, so this gives you Na plus and Cl minus. So total positive charge is 1, total negative charge is 1. So therefore lambda m is equals to lambda eq. So this charge is V is 1. Take this calcium sulfate, when dissolves gives you calcium ion plus sulfate ion. So total positive charge is 2, total negative charge is 2. So therefore for such type of solution, lambda m is equals to 2 times lambda eq. So this is the meaning of this total positive charge or negative charge. So this is molar conductance and this is equivalent conductance. Now after this we'll see how this kappa specific conductance or the conductivity of a solution varies with concentration. Now this kappa for both strong and weak electrolyte, for both strong and weak electrolyte this kappa is proportional to concentration. That means if the concentration is more, kappa is more. If the concentration is less, the kappa or the specific conductance or the conductivity of the solution will be less. So now look at this, why this kappa varies with concentration, or why this kappa decreases with dilution, or why this kappa increases with increase in concentration of the solution. Now this kappa, specific conductance, is the conducting power of ions per unit volume. This is total conducting power of ions present per unit volume. So look at this. Kappa, specific conductance, is the total conducting power of ions present per unit volume of solution. Now look at this, if the concentration is increased, so number of ions present per unit volume will increase. As the number of ions present per unit volume increases, kappa will increases. Now on dilution, if the concentration is decreased, so on dilution, number of ions present per unit volume will decrease. As the number of ions present per unit volume decreases, kappa will decrease. So for both strong and weak electrolyte, whether the electrolyte is 100% dissociated or less than 100% dissociated, this kappa depends on the number of ions present per unit volume. So increase in concentration means number of ions per unit volume will increase, kappa will increase. Dilution means we are decreasing concentration by adding extra volume of solvent. So decrease in concentration means number of ions present per unit volume is decreased, hence kappa is decreased. So kappa specifically defined for those ions present per unit volume. So this is how kappa varies with concentration for both strong and weak electrolytes. If this is the variation of kappa with concentration, then the variation of conductance, molar conductance of lambda m or lambda E cube with concentration. How this molar or equivalent conductance of solution varies with concentration. Now, as we have seen earlier, this lambda molar conductance or equivalent conductance, this is equals to kappa divided by C. Now we have just seen here kappa is proportional to concentration, whether this concentration is measured in terms of normality or in terms of molarity. So if concentration increases, kappa will increase. If kappa is increased, obviously molar conductance will increase. Now on the other side, look at this. We have a denominator, concentration and denominator. So if concentration is increased, so 1 by C terms will decrease, so the lambda will decrease. So now look at this. So on increasing concentration, kappa will increase. So if kappa is increased, conductance has to increase. On the other side, this conductance is inversely related to C. So as the C increases, 1 by C terms decreases. So alpha this molar conductance will decrease. So one factor increases, another factor decreases. So both are moving in opposite direction. One is moving in increasing direction, the other one is moving in decreasing direction. So the resultant effect will be the combination of these two. If the decreasing factor dominates over increasing factor, then conductance will decrease. If the increasing factor dominates over decreasing factor, then molar conductance will increase. Now in this case, molar conductance of weak and strong electrolyte, for both strong and weak electrolyte, this lambda, this molar conductance or equivalent conductance decreases with increase in concentrations. So with increase in concentration, lambda decreases. With decrease in concentration, lambda will increase. So the reason is here. So 1 by C factor decreasing, that is 1 by C factor dominates over increasing factor of C. So 1 by C decrease in value by 1 by C dominates over increase in value by C. So as the decreasing factor dominates over increasing factor, so this molar conductance of both strong and weak electrolyte decreases as the concentration is increased. So simply saying, with dilution molar conductance or equivalent conductance increases. Now we have to explain why this conductance decreases on increasing concentration. Now look at this. As the concentration is increased, number of moles of ions present in the solution will increase, whether we are having strong electrolyte or weak electrolyte. So as the concentration is increased, number of ions present in the solution also increases. As the number of ions present in the solution increases, this inter-ionic interaction will also increase. As the inter-ionic interaction increases, mobility of ions will decrease. As the mobility of ions decreases, the tendency for current carrying capacity will also decrease. On the other side, if concentration is decreased, means dilution, ions are less. So ions are at further distance because we are having extra volume of solvent. So in between these ions we have a large quantity of solvent. So ions are at greater distance. As the ions are at greater than distance, inter-ionic interaction will be less. As the inter-ionic interaction will be less, these ions will move with relative faster speed. As the inter-ionic interaction is less, ions will move faster speed or the mobility of ions increases. As the mobility of ions increases, this molar conductance or equivalent conductance will increase. So this can be explained based on inter-ionic interaction in case of strong electrolyte, which is more, and in case of concentrated solution is more. In case of dilute solution, inter-ionic interaction is less, hence the molar conductance varies with concentration. Now let's explain for this strong, now graphically now for this variation. This is conductance versus square root of concentration. So we are increasing concentration. To all increasing concentration, the conductance decreases. So this is for strong electrolytes like KCl, HCl, NaCl, etc. This is for weak electrolytes. So weak electrolytes, like we can have look at this organic acids, this is acetic acid, etc. So for both weak electrolytes and strong electrolytes, this molar conductance decreases as the concentration increases. The reason being, with increasing concentration, inter-ionic interaction increases, decreasing the ionic mobility, hence molar conductance decreases. But if you look at this, the variation is less in case of strong electrolyte, more in case of weak electrolyte. The reason being, in case of strong electrolyte, the electrolyte is almost 100% or 100% dissociated, whereas in case of weak electrolyte, this is not 100% dissociated. So this is the reason why there is a very small decrease in conductance for strong electrolyte. For weak electrolyte, there is a large variation. So this is graph Now for strong electrolytes, variation is defined by, explained by a theory known as Debye-Huckel-Onsager theory. So variation of conductance with concentration of strong electrolytes are defined by, explained by Debye-Huckel-Onsager theory. Now this theory is out of our syllabus. We are not going to focus on this theory. We'll just use the equation to define this. So according to this theory, the total conductance of solution at any given concentration is equals to the conductance of the solution at infinite dilution minus some constant A in under root C. So this is the conductance of solution at infinite dilution. Conductance at infinite dilution, when the solution is infinitely diluted. So under that condition, what is the total molar conductance or equivalent conductance? C is the concentration here, A is a constant, and this constant depends on the charge of ions. Depends on charge of ions. And for similar electrolytes, the value of A's are same. Same values for similar electrolytes. That means, now look at this. We have NaCl. So look at this. We have 1 plus 1 minus NaBr plus minus NaI plus minus. We can talk this Ki plus minus KBr. So now look at this. These electrolytes have same 1:1 ratio, 1 cation, 1 anions. For all these, A will be same. Similarly, look at it. If we take this calcium sulfate, that is 2 plus 2 minus, and magnesium sulfate, again we have 2 plus and 2 minus, so A will be same here. So if you look at this conductance of a given solution at a given concentration is equals to infinite value minus A into under root C. So look at this. When infinitely dilute, this is 0. So at infinite dilution, extrapolation of graph, this method, y-axis at this value. So this value is what we call as lambda naught. So for this strong electrolyte, we can easily define this, what is the value of conductance at infinite dilution, simply by extrapolation method, because this graph is a strong electrolyte, equation of straight line. Y is equals to mx plus c. So slope is negative, so this is decreasing slope. Now for weak electrolyte, for this variation of this weak electrolyte, this is explained by a theory known as Ostwald dilution law. Ostwald dilution law that we have discussed in 11th class, that is chemical or ionic equilibrium. So now suppose we have this a weak electrolyte AB. So this being a weak electrolyte undergoes partial dissociation to give you A plus and B minus sign. Now when the system reaches equilibrium, the equilibrium concentration is, suppose this is C1 minus alpha, where alpha is the degree of dissociation of this weak electrolyte. Now 1 mole gives you 1 mole, 1 mole cation, 1 mole anion. So the concentration of A plus will be C alpha. This is again C alpha. So this is dissociation. So we can write down equilibrium constant is Kd, which is equals to concentration of A plus into concentration of B minus divided by concentration of AB unionized. So AB concentration is C alpha, so this is C alpha square divided by C 1 minus alpha, so this is C alpha square divided by 1 minus alpha. Now for a weak electrolyte, alpha is much less than 1. So since alpha is much less than 1, means degree of dissociation is very small. So 1 minus alpha is approximately equals to 1. So under this condition, Kd is equals to C alpha square, or alpha is equals to Kd by C under root. So this is what we call is Ostwald dilution law. Now look at this. As the concentration C increases, alpha will decrease. So with increase in concentration, degree of dissociation will decrease. As the degree of dissociation decreases, less quantity of ions are present in the solution, so the conductance will be less. Now, as the value of C decreases, dilution, alpha will increase. So now look at this infinite dilution. When C is approaching values of 0, alpha approaches to that of 1, because the maximum value of alpha is 1. So this is the reason why, look at this. Even at infinite dilution, this electrolyte cannot be 100% dissociated. So this is the reason why we cannot have lambda naught for a weak electron, because if keep on dilating, this keeps on increasing. So this will not touch this conduction axis. So now look at, this is the reason. So now limit C tends to 0, that is infinite dilution, when alpha approaches that of 1. So this is infinite dilution. So as the concentration decreases, conductance increases, because the alpha value, that is degree of dissociation, increases. As the degree of dissociation increases, the number of ions present in the solution also increases, hence the conduction also increases. So this is the variation of conductance for strong and weak electrolyte. Weak electrolyte explained by Ostwald dilution law based on this alpha, whereas strong electrolyte by this Debye-Huckel-Amos theory, because this is 100% dissociated, so Ostwald dilution law will not be applicable here.